Anyway, we've got Laura on line 1.
Laura, what are you, apart from a lady, clearly, but what do you class yourself as?
I'm definitely and always have been working class. When I was young, my father brought me up and said, Laura, there's only 2 types of class. It's either work or you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth and you don't have to work. Yeah. And anybody that places themselves in the middle is deluded.
And do you work now, Laura? Well, yeah, tell us about yourself. Where are you in the world now?
I do volunteer work and things like that. And I'm not working at the moment because I've not been very well, but I generally work. And it's interesting because when I was younger, I lived abroad in Jersey, and I had more money than I knew what to do with. And when I look back on myself then, I wasn't very nice. I didn't like myself very much. And I lost touch with my social roots and my social conscience.
Yeah.
And that I'm not any better than anybody else. And I think what Keira Knightley's trying to say is that she hasn't forgotten that there are people that are less fortunate than her. And we don't know what she does privately. We don't know what she does with charities and, you know, what she does with her money. I think that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I meant about there being the person, really.
Some of the most arrogant people that I ever met in my life.
Yeah.
People that were buying property, and they called themselves middle class, and they were so greedy. And they set themselves aside from ordinary working class people. But all they've got is a little bit more money. They're not really anything special. And it's something that I've always tried to hang on to. In my family in Glasgow, a lot of them were very academic, teachers and doctors, vets and whatever. And all I ever remember was being around social values and good working class roots, and nobody being elevated above their station. And today a lot of them would probably be called middle class, but I've never seen it like that.
No.
That's how I look at life.
Laura, you, Gail and I should go out on one of Gail's legendary nights out and talk about this.
But get well soon, Laura. Are you okay now?
Yes, I'm fine now, thank you.
Good. Keep up the volunteer work.
Yeah.
Then come out on a night out.
Yeah. She's well, in our opinion, she's got it, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
And she's Scottish.
Yeah, she's Scottish. Amy.
Yeah, next caller then is Yvette on line 2.
Yvette, hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
And what's your situation?
I have been brought up in a working class background. I consider myself to be working class, and I think there's a huge confusion about class and the fact of having a material lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think that people think because they have money it changes their status and it changes their class, but it's very much a case, I think, that if you're brought up in a middle class background, a working class background or an upper class background, having money doesn't actually change what you are, and it's also being accepted into that class, because people who are middle and upper class and have been brought up in that lifestyle will never accept somebody who's been brought up in the same way as people that have actually had that standard of lifestyle from the beginning.
We're with you there too. I think there's a general consensus, isn't there? We've got nice viewers, I think. That's a general consensus. Thanks very much, Yvette. I wonder what the audience thinks. Eric?
Right, well, next to me is Maggie, joining us all the way from Shropshire. So what's wrong with being middle class? Can you tell us?
I just don't think it's thought of to be cool to be middle class particularly, and I think that a lot of us don't even know what being middle class is, and nobody even really thinks about it. I don't think that any of my friends would even remotely think about which class we were in or what we thought other people were, really. So I think Kate is just trying to be the girl next door and you know, wants to be seen to be cool and just normal.
But is that wrong of her? Do you think, oof, why are you doing that? Or do you think it's just because she genuinely feels inside that she is still working
I'm sure
class?
She probably feels inside, but she isn't. And, you know, she has to accept that, really.
You just said you didn't know what class was, and now you're labelling her as being someone who isn't working class. This is what we all do.
I guess it's sort of celebrities. You perhaps
well, they're horrible.
Yeah, they're not normal.
Terrible people. They're not even worth putting into a category, are they? Terrible. Maggie, how are you this morning? Oh, no, that was you, Maggie. Oh, gosh, Amy, I'm going mad, absolutely mad.
Don't worry, you'll get there by the end of the week.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. We've got our next caller, it's Margaret on line 3.
Mark, see, I knew it was a Maggie.
Maggie, there you go.
Nearly,
See, I didn't
nearly.
need to come to you, Amy. Maggie, Margaret, how are you? Are you Margaret because you're middle class, by the way? Would you be Maggie if you were working class, Margaret?
Is she there?
Oh, she's gone now. We've insulted her.
She's like, right, she can't get me right. You
Margaret.
can't get my name right. I'm off.
That's because I called her Maggie. She must be middle class. Any more calls?
No.
Oh, Eric, I thought you were looking expectant there.
OK, well, we can speak to Kira next to me. So, what class would you say? And is there anything wrong with being middle class?
I don't think there's anything wrong with being middle class. I do kind of... I live in Guildford, which is a very middle class area, and so everyone kind of in Guildford are quite like charity events, which is good. But they kind of like the charity events revolve around them, who's doing it, if you know what I mean, kind of thing. So if I was putting on a charity event, and if I was one of those kind of like people, I would be like, oh yeah, this is for this charity, but I want everyone to know that I'm running it. So, but I'm not saying there's anything wrong against middle class people. I think what Kate's trying to do is she's trying to not label herself into because she lives in that kind of world and she's surrounded by it all the time. She's trying to not label herself into that world.
Yes, I haven't forgotten the peasants is what she's saying, I think. Thank you very much indeed. And here we all are this morning, gathered together. After the break, have you got a life plan, I wonder? Do you want to be middle class eventually? John, as we heard earlier on, formulated a plan aged 17 to map out his goals in sport and in life. And so far, I think it's working, I think we can safely say. But do you have a life plan? Milestones you have to reach by a certain age? Married by 25, maybe? Baby by 27? All that sort of stuff, big house, car. What happens if you don't reach those goals? 0207 173 5555, and that's the number for your thoughts. And are you setting yourself up for a fall if you don't stick to the plan? Is life more fulfilling if you just go with the flow? If you've mapped your life out in minute detail, we would love to hear about it. You've got about 3 minutes. See you then.
What percentage of women say their plan for life includes getting married? Is it 34, 64 or 94? Answer after the break.